because we are a Christian nation. We are a Christian state, period, the end. I took on our foreign adversaries as well, stopped China from buying our land, tripled border security, designated cartels as terrorists, and am now taking on one of our most growing and biggest threats, which is Sharia law and Islamification. You know, Sharia law is organized crime, period, and I will treat it as such. I also changed the law to stop these radical Muslim groups like CARE and Muslim Brotherhood from buying any property in Texas.
Treating Sharia law as organized crime. Can you please unpack that? That's fascinating.
Yeah, so look, we've got to make sure that everyone understands this is not a religious liberties issue. This is not a First Amendment issue, because if they're faithfully adherent to their ideology, and I call an ideology for a reason in the Quran, they see us as the infidel that they can commit jihad against. This is an America first issue. This is a Texas first issue. This is a national security issue because they don't think we deserve the right to exist as Americans or as Christians. And it's how they're undermining us with this red-green alliance that we have seen. And Benny, I've seen it at the Capitol. 10 Commandments, I mentioned earlier. Guess who lobbied against that? CARE did, right? The radical Muslim terrorist group. That shows you what they're going for. They're trying to destroy this country, and they're trying to destroy this state, because the left is certain of this. If they take Texas, they've taken this whole country. We cannot elect a Republican president without Texas. They are well aware of that, and they are coming for us, like James Tallarico, for example. That guy is a lunatic. Yeah. This is a guy that says he's a pastor, and I use air quotes for a reason. He said there's a biblical argument for abortion. He said that God is non-binary transgender. He said it's unchristian and un-American to display the 10 Commandments in schools. So you know what my reaction to that was? I bought 10 Commandments posters for all the schools in his district and donated them in his honor.
Well, I would love to get to Tallarico. Just really quickly, though, to unpack the other part of your approach towards third worldism in Texas, which we all know why the left wants to import as many third worlders to Texas as possible. It is, of course, to take the crown jewel of America and the 35 different electoral votes that you get from the state of Texas and to flip them to Democrats. This is the main goal. The left has been talking about this. They've been transparent about this for decades. This is their goal. It is absolute population replacement and cultural replacement of Texas. I think that is, frankly, one of the top 3 issues in the country right now, actually. And you say that you said there was another part other than treating Sharia law as a criminal enterprise. You're going to be stripping away the power from these Muslim groups. How are you going to do that?
That's right. So I'm the only one in this race that has fought for and changed the law to stop Sharia and Islamification. Number one, we made it a second-degree felony to enforce Sharia law. I will make sure that that is enforced to the fullest extent of the law. Number two, change the law to stop these no-go zones like you've seen in North Texas. East Plano Islamic Center, Epic is one of them. They've renamed it to the Meadow. They're going to keep renaming it. But what this law does is it allows the AG to bring an action to deny public benefit. And what is that? Sewer, water, electricity, roads, management districts. That makes sure that the meadow remains a meadow. But the third that I mentioned earlier, probably the most powerful tool, is stopping enemy entities from owning any property in Texas that includes critical infrastructure. So we need to continue to add to that list. Right now, CARE and Muslim Brotherhood are on that list. We need to keep adding, because what it does is it prevents them from owning any property in Texas, and it allows the AG, and I made sure that was in the law, to bring an action to force them to divest and sell their property. We cannot allow them to own 1 square inch in our great state. And look, I'm never retreating from Washington, D.C., because I'm never going to Washington, D.C. I have always known that the fight is right here in the great state of Texas. I was born here, and I'll be buried here. This is it.
So, Mays, what are you going to do as Attorney General to assist the Trump administration in deportations? We got outrage from DHS talking about a Afghan national in Texas and saying you should check out this TikTok account And it's a TikTok account. This guy's like talking about how he's going to take his Uber that he drives and use it as a car bomb to blow up buildings in Dallas. He's bragging about it with all of his Afghan friends live on TikTok. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Of course, the guy is here on some type of relocation program that Joe Biden brought him in. And Joe Biden's literally bringing terrorists into Texas. How are you going to reverse that cycle?
Well, look, this is simple for me. You've seen it across America, right? Minneapolis, Minnesota, where they're blocking ICE. They're blocking President Trump's deportation agenda. We just saw it in Houston not that long ago, in Dallas, in San Antonio, Austin. And what they are doing is they're getting in the way of President Trump's border security and deportation agenda. And we have a very powerful tool to stop that. It was a Freedom Caucus priority. You know, I was chairman of the Texas House Freedom Caucus. And what the ban on sanctuary cities allows me to do and would allow us to do to stop this is three things. Number one, I can sue for civil penalties. Number two, criminal penalties. Number three, most importantly, removal from office. You get in the way of President Trump's deportation agenda, you get in the way of ICE, you get removed from office. It is that simple. And that is a very powerful accountability that we need, because this is what the left does, right? Wow. They treat our laws, they treat our Constitution as a suggestion. And whenever you do that, you have violated your oath of office and you need to be removed from office.
Wow. You know, this is amazing. LaMonica McIver was up fighting ICE agents and punching ICE agents. Senator Andy Kim was pepper sprayed yesterday fighting ICE agents in New Jersey. It's obscene to see these Democrat lawmakers behaving like Marxist revolutionaries, violent ones on the street. And so you're saying that if an elected official does that in Texas, you will remove them from office?
Ban on sanctuary cities. It is a powerful tool, but not only that. I fought for the state's deportation law. Senate Bill 4, we just had a big victory before the Fifth Circuit on that one. And what it allows Texas to do is allows us to charge illegal immigrants with illegal entry and return them to country of origin. And the reason why that's so important,
wow,
what did we see in the last 4 years of the Biden administration? He opened up the border. He put illegal immigrants first and citizens second. And the state has to have that backup ability when the federal government refused to do its job, like we saw in 2021 through 2025. And it is a tool I will make sure is enforced.
So the state of Texas would then have the plenary power to take and remove criminal aliens that are not U.S. citizens that are residing in Texas.
That's right. Because look, Texas has a constitutional right to repel an invasion, both in our state and our federal constitution. And that is what we did with Operation Lone Star. Do y'all remember the buoys in the river? Also where we surged our state troopers. I was down there in Shelby Park during that. It was amazing to see. We actually locked out. I remember going to Shelby Park, the island, and it was only the state there. We had state troopers from other states as well, and expelling illegal immigrants across the border, making sure they didn't cross. And that's the state's rights to do. We have an ability to repel an invasion, and I will make sure that we use it and use every resource and tool to make sure that we put Texas first. And also, more than that even, I got to point this out. I've been fighting to stop taxpayer benefits from going to illegal immigrants.
Thank you.
Those are the magnets that are causing people to come here, whether that's in-state tuition for illegal immigrants or also we're paying for education and healthcare. I've been fighting against that for years. Most recently, the victory we had was stopping in-state tuition for illegal immigrants, where we were subsidizing college tuition at our public colleges for illegal immigrants. And we ended that, putting citizens first, putting taxpayers first, making sure only citizen students get those seats in our schools.
Maze, that was one of my favorite interviews of all time. Ken Paxton on the border talking about the razor wire buoys that the state of Texas created and invented in order to prevent the criminal invasion of your state. It was incredible. And it was the only state that actually did anything about it. I know that the state of Florida, where I reside, sent some state troopers over to help, but that was amazing, man. I mean, that's one of the greatest fights for the Republic that I've ever seen. And be really nice to see that border as secure as possible. Perhaps we could touch on that. What would you do as Attorney General to ensure that Texas border, which is the longest contiguous U.S. border with any nation, what would you do to lock that sucker down?
Well, the number one thing, we got an incredible president. President Trump is the greatest president we have ever had in our history, period, the end. And I will use every resource and every tool in the AG's office to back him up in his border security and deportation agenda, because we've got 3 years left to do the job. And it's not just deporting some illegal immigrants. We got to deport all illegal immigrants.